Hey everyone, and good evening, and welcome to another Frenzy Freestyle Sunday. And I'm your host Spin, and everyone else will be joining us shortly. So it is, August 2022, August 21st, and as usual, we'll get into some of the topics of some of the recent news in the Transformers community. We'll also get into part two of Transformers Intelligence, where last week we covered the Autobots. This week we will cover the Decepticons, and we'll also just do our usual talking of like all sorts of different news and things that we've seen in the forums. One being the exclusive Cosmos, which I think that will have to be an episode in itself, considering that Cosmos is the most talked about exclusive character in all of the Transformers toys that have been released recently. And I want to send a shout out to Primetime Steven. What's up? How are you doing? And thank you for joining in. How are things doing going on with you? And any news on your end in terms of like new figures you've collected, or or anything that of interest you that you've seen that just seems a little out of place or the usual in a sense within the Transformers community. And while we're waiting for everyone to join in, I will go through some of this week's news, right? News from the last couple weeks. Well, Prime Steve from YouTube has mentioned that he got the Legacy Cosmos and Metroplex this week. And I guess the question to you is, how were you able to get Cosmos? Because from what a lot of people have mentioned, is there's only 2 copies of Cosmos that's been sent out to all the Walmarts. So basically, once Hasbro ships a box of Transformers to Walmart, within the box there's multiples of other characters, but there's only 1 or 2 Cosmos at most, since this is an exclusive character. So a lot of people have been saying, well, scalpers or other this and that are buying all the characters, and really the issue is there only was 2 characters sent to begin with. Anthony, how are you doing? Give me a moment and I will send you the link so you can jump in. So, as Anthony said, that he is jet lagged and full of wine and pasta. A lovely combination, right? Unless you need to stream. Well, this should be fun.
There we go. Hello.
There we go. How are you doing, sir?
Hold on, my stuff's muted. Give me a second.
Okay.
Oh, come on. There we go. All right, I'm back.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm jet lagged and I'm full of wine and pasta. I just flew in from Portugal.
How was the trip?
Long and busy and warm, but fun.
Nice.
Um, I did not get to watch the Hasbro Pulse stream live, but I saw the highlights on my phone
Okay.
afterwards in photo form.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, I guess we'll go over that as well.
Yeah, you were just talking about trying to get Cosmos. I had no dice. I went to a couple of WalMarts nearby. I did find a Road Rocket though, who I got right here. So partial success. That was the other one I wanted, but this one's not exactly rare or anything. Just regularly packed instead of short packed.
Okay.
It's This was Prime RC from the Legacy version, but with a new head and chest, and this is a character from Generation 2, which is why I was after it. So,
Okay, interesting. I was just going to ask you, like, who was that character and the history behind the character.
yeah, I like a nobody, basically. Somebody from the third final year of Generation 2, a laser cycle, so they had like a light up thing, and obviously they were looking for somebody to retool RC into, so they picked this character.
Okay.
One of those people who's just been in the backgrounds of comics over the decades because rather than anything important. But it's a Generation 2 figure. Uh, Goes on my shelf of G2 guys, and um, this figure looks a lot like Windblade, which is why it partially appealed to me. Like, what if Windblade was a motorcycle? You got the colors, you got the wheels right here where the VTOL fans would be.
Yeah, it does. I mean, at first glance, it does give me. It remind me of Windblade.
Yeah, but yeah, no, just another Neo G2 person for my shelf of Neo G2 guys. Stick it next to Laser Optimus Prime and Black Sideswipe and Green Tank Megatron in them.
Okay, cool.
But no Cosmos. I don't think I'm ever going to see that. Uh, the two times I've seen the Velocitron guys, Cosmos have been gone.
Yeah, it's just funny seeing all the posts where people are seeing the actual box shipped from Hasbro, and once they go in the box, all the other characters are in the box except for Cosmos.
Yeah,
You know,
it's because
so
there
it's
one per
sorry,
case. It's because there's one per case apparently.
right. So the speculation is like, are the employees going in the case, hiding it? Is it a pre-order or exactly what's happening, or is it just a regular person buying it and they just happen to be there?
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, um, I monitor the threads on Cybertron.ca because they have a sightings section, like a physical one, and people
Right.
will say that this Walmart has the Velocitron stuff, and you go there and it's everybody but Cosmos because obviously somebody else got there first, or more likely the person who reported that they were there grabbed the Cosmos and went.
And then reported it.
Hmm.
It's funny. It's like, I'll tell all you guys that it's there after I get what I need.
I mean that would I. It's not even malicious. If I saw some that nobody saw and there was a Cosmos there, I would buy the Cosmos and then report on my phone that the rest were there. So it's
It's
there's not
true.
even a. That's just what a person would do. So I'm like, that's how it goes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, the few times I've been to Walmart in the last week or two, like I just decide to venture over to the toy section just to see if anything's there. And of course, the Walmart I always go to, the Transformers section just always looks dismally destroyed.
Yeah, it,
Like
it
just
really varies.
yeah, unstocked and messy and just like it would be surprising to see certain characters or any characters anyone's looking for at that
Yeah,
location.
like the Pickering Walmart's where I got this, and it's got a pretty good section. Like it's organized and everything's there. And
Okay.
I happen to be in Scarborough near Centennial's Ashton B campus today, getting some some roller skating gear. So I went in and checked the Walmart there, and that section was like abysmal. So like it really is a place to place thing.
Yeah, that's the location that's close to where I live, and it's
Yeah,
it's a disaster every time I go in there. I'm
I
like,
was
it's a disaster.
real conversation. Me and Jess were walking through the place, and I said to her, I was like, "Do the vibes here seem weird?" And she was like, "Yes, absolutely."
I agree.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
it's good to
there's
know it
certain
wasn't just
Walmarts.
us.
It's like, depending on which part of the city, it's like you go in
Yeah,
and it's like, okay, this is normal. You go in other ones. I'm like, this looks like the Walmart that you see in the memes of just things that shouldn't be happening. So you just go
yeah,
and get what you need and leave like right away.
yeah. It really was that kind of a setup.
Yep.
I tried to. I God, I regret this, but the timing didn't work out. A bunch of people went to a Walmart in Portugal to get some supplies, and I didn't go with them. I wanted to see what it was like to report back.
You know what? I mean, from what I've been seeing in terms of, especially in terms of the Cosmos, you probably would have come across a bunch of Cosmos or a better selection or a well organized section compared to whatever happens over on on this side of the world. Like it's just the the overseas or or the international Walmarts just seem to organize their stores a lot better and just have a lot more care in terms of like what they do with their stores.
Ah, yeah. I No time. It was a chaotic trip. I wish I got a chance to see it.
But you're back and you're safe.
Yeah, that's the important thing.
Yes.
Shout out to TAP, which is the Portugal airline, for being way better than Air Canada and giving me little to no trouble the entire time.
Nice.
Yeah. Uh, but
Yeah.
yeah,
What?
I kept up
Mhm.
with the stuff that came out of that Hasbro Pulse stream.
Okay.
They're making a Last Night Hot Rod. I'm like, I don't even buy movie guys, but I want that version of Hot Rod. They're making
I've
that.
Yeah, but I've been reading about that. A lot of people like that version of Hot Rod.
Yeah, they're making that gorgeous Transmetal 2 Dragon Megatron, and I'm like, give me. That one looks great. Uh, and they have Inferno there to finish off the Beast Wars cast, and I'm like, yeah, there you go. That's my wants from that line right there.
Nice. Okay. Cool. So since you're here, let's jump into some of the news.
hmm While this is going on, maybe I'll just flip this figure into bicycle mode. What do we got? Something about Fall of Cybertron?
There we go.
Oh, 10 years old, really? Gosh,
Oh,
my secret shame is I never actually played Fall of Cybertron. I played War for Cybertron, the first
okay.
one. Really enjoyed it, but my brother's Xbox 360 went kaput before the sequel came out.
Ah, okay.
So I mean, I've heard great things. I heard it's better than the first one. I liked the first one, um, but I've never gotten a chance to play it. Put it on the Switch. I'll play it on the Switch if it's ever there. I don't know. I heard the rights situation around it's a little weird, so nowadays it's mostly remembered on for giving us a good Grimlock and a good Bruticus combiner, at least until Combiner
Ah,
Wars.
okay.
Yeah.
So
Um,
on YouTube, it says, "Hey, Fair Courage, how were the crowds at the airports?"
Not bad, but all of my flights were at weird times. Either like really early or really late, so I think I missed like peak hours.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny how that ironically works out to avoid the crowd.
Yeah, like my flight back home, it was supposed to be at 11, but it got bumped back to 7 a.m., which you had to be there at like 4 in the morning. And I was
Ooh.
like, this sucks. But then it was completely smooth and painless. So I'm like, that's probably a blessing in disguise.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that there was like nobody there. Yeah. Gosh, Fall of Cybertron. They did. I keep being like, remember when? But I don't think you probably wouldn't have, because you wouldn't have been collecting stuff. They did spring-loaded data discs for all the little for all of Soundwave's cassettes, where you pressed a button and they exploded into the characters.
Oh, I don't think I was aware of that.
Yeah, yeah. Because, yeah, I guess what I keep alluding to is Fall of Cybertron got like a dedicated action figure line to itself, as opposed to just like a couple figures here and there.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. So, like, that Grimlock there got a figure, that Optimus there got a figure. Um, it was pretty thorough.
Okay.
Yeah. And Blaster and Soundwave got versions of themselves with like spring-loaded disc guys that changed into, their little companions.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, it was a pretty fun line. It was the first time. It predates. It was doing what Siege was doing before Siege existed.
Got it.
Because everybody has their Cybertron modes. What do we? Okay. I was like, what am I looking at?
Oh, sorry.
Also, that being
mhm.
being 10 years old is messing with my sense of time. That feels like this was out a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it's funny when how that plays out.
Yeah.
Just like you hear your favorite song is like 30 years old. I'm like, if the song's 30 years old, how old am I?
Yeah. That doesn't feel right at all.
Yeah. All right, and before we jump into the news, so again,
Optimus
thank you
Primal.
for Primetime Steven jumping in and Sohana jumping in as well. And Sohana, I want to ask you a question that was on my mind. Is it pronounced Sohana or Soljana? Press 1 if it's Sohana, or 2 if it's Soljana.
Yeah, I got no idea myself. I'd be interested in the answer to that too.
Cool. So now back to Fear of Courage with Optimus Primal.
Oh yeah. Those big old authentic Titan Changers guys that are just like meant for young kids. I love that the Beast Wars guys are getting this kind of love and wine like this. I mean, it's doubtless because of the eventual movie, but I'm like, yeah, there we go. A nice jumbo, affordable Optimus Primal. I would have loved this when I was a little kid.
Oh, I could imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the Titan Heroes line. Like, Hasbro does these for Marvel guys too, right? Giant Spider-Man, Giant Optimus Prime.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have a Giant Optimus Primal. And he looks, well, not great, but this is a cheap line, so it gets a pass.
Oh, as Soljana has said, it is pronounced Soljana. So I'm going to
Okay.
remember that for the future shows, future
Yeah,
streams.
Soljana. I'll keep that in mind. Nice
Yes.
to meet you, Soljana.
And thank you always for jumping in every week.
Mm-hmm. Love to hear what people are thinking.
This is true.
Maybe you've seen them in stores, but Hasbro has a line of Transformers aimed at people who want an affordable, larger Transformer. Yeah. They're called Titan Heroes. And, like, you've definitely seen anybody that goes to these things. They do, like, Marvel characters. You can get giant Spider-Mans and whatever.
Right.
So, like, everybody has definitely seen these.
Okay.
They got, like, 5 points of articulation. They're just really big and hollow. Oh yeah, I love these behind the scenes things. I've been keeping up with these. When the designers of the action figures talk about the inspirations behind them. That's one of the. Orlati on YouTube is going, yo, S and FC. What is
He's referring to Spinning and Fear of Courage.
Oh, okay. I'm a little bit slow tonight for obvious reasons.
It's okay.
You
You're
gotta,
still you're still adjusting time zones.
yeah, straight up.
Yep.
So don't expect me to say anything smart. Yeah.
Well, thank
It's,
you, Orlati, for joining us from YouTube.
yeah, but yeah, that's one of those legacy guys that if any that was revealed on the live stream. And the funny thing is, they call him Blanker because they don't have the rights to Point Blank. Apparently, Blanker is the character's Japanese name, but it sounds funny to me because it always sounds like they're censoring a curse word.
It does, or like saying like a tweaker or something like that. Blanker
Yeah,
is a really odd word.
yeah. It just happens to be what they call him in Japan, so that's what they went with. I guess they couldn't get the copyright on Point Blank.
Yeah, I always found Point Blank and a few other characters in the Headmaster and Target Master line, like they were really cool, but just always overshadowed.
Yeah, they were out. They were out a little bit too late to have a major role on the show, and they might have gotten the Headmasters comic all to themselves, but there was a lot of characters in that comic. So yeah, they did kind of wind up overshadowed. I will say Point Blank in particular has a big role in the Headmasters anime because
Okay.
they bring in the Target Masters kind of late in the show, and they're portrayed as like hotshot professionals that kind of don't get along with the rest of the team, and Point Blank is their leader specifically.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So, like, anybody that watches the Headmasters anime, out of those three Autobot guys, this guy probably has the most screen time, which is probably why they picked him, actually, especially if they're using his Japanese name.
Interesting. Well, we have
Yeah.
Amy from Facebook who's asking who's Point Blank and what is he from.
Oh,
Um, so I guess we can both answer that. Where Point Blank is a G1 character from the Target Masters, which would have come out in the around '87. Um,
mhm.
and Anthony, you were saying in terms of Point Blank's history.
Yeah. Like, he was on the last few episodes of the cartoon because they
Hmm.
really quickly introduced the 87 guys. He was in the Marvel Comics and the Headmasters miniseries.
Hmm.
Um, Again, like not a major role just because that had a huge cast. And he was in the Japanese only Headmasters anime as the leader of the Autobot Target Masters, kind of like I said, kind of a hotshot professional who didn't have time for their nonsense. Yeah, just a late generation one guy.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate with a lot of with a lot of the late generation guys. Sorry, late generation one characters. Um, for the fact of some of them ended up in Rebirth, and some kind of missed out on that. Again, my favorite being Power Master Optimus Prime and
Hmm.
Piranacon. The combined form of the Seacons, where
Yeah,
all of these toys came out in '87, along with Dreadwing and a few other characters that were great as toys in the last phase of when Hasbro still put that quality into the toys, but
hmm
they miss out being in the cartoon, so a lot of people didn't know of these characters.
yeah. I will say, if you want to see something with the Seacons, and watch the Master Force anime, they were major bad guys in that.
Yes, this is
Um,
true.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting because Snaptrap, the leader, was the only guy who was like a proper transformer. His four, no, the five limb guys they weren't singular characters. They were an army of drones. So there was like
In-
a million tentacles, a million nautilатors.
Interesting. I was not even aware of that because I mean, some of those cartoons I were able to. I was fortunate to watch through a friend who got the VHS copies back in like '87, '88. But
Yeah,
I didn't recall that of the Seacons.
yeah. That's why they have a major role. They get to be the cannon fodder troops for the bad guys.
Cool.
And then
And
later on, it's a surprise that they can combine into Piranacon, and it's a big deal because they're like, we got to figure out how to beat this guy.
nice. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Master
you're
Force
welcome, Amy.
was yeah, Master Force was a good one. All three of those old Japanese shows are they're they're they're, they're a good time.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Let's
Plus,
see.
like if you're a fan of like late G1 characters, those are often the shows that they had the biggest role in.
Right, that makes sense. Because I mean, within the Japanese series, it was considered a continuation of G1.
Mm-hmm. Just finished transforming Road Rocket, and I stuck a Common Rider on as the rider because it's scaled to be able to have like Star Wars sized figures ride it. So
Oh,
came out a
interesting.
little bent, but I'm sure I can make that a bit straighter later. But yeah, I
Okay.
got the handlebars and everything. Yeah, there we go. Nice, better focus. Yeah, I speak. We were just looking at an Instagram post for Point Blank. On the Instagram post for RC, which like this is a repaint of. The designer said they specifically scaled the bike because they wanted 3 3/4 action figures to be able to ride it. So that's a nice feature to have.
Oh, that's a very good feature.
Yeah,
I mean, that would almost be cool if they did some sort of G.I. Joe crossover with that mindset of being able to fit such characters.
yeah. I'm surprised they. I mean, it's still in the cards because the two GI Joe crossovers that they've done have come with 3 3/4 scale guys. So I could always see them, doing a cheaper crossover with one of those Joes riding a motorcycle like this.
Nice.
Yeah. Oof, oof, boy, those American people are lucky. The Amazon exclusive. Okay, Michael Orlotti says hot shot and hot rod. That's hot. I don't have a hot shot right now. I should. I have plenty of hot rods.
That just sounds funny in itself.
Yeah. uh, th- this set here. Hey, this the Skywarp and Sideswipe set at Ross for $23. Boy, if you see that for that price, get it. If you go to my news and reviews and look through my archive, I reviewed this set. It's a very good set. And at the time, I was like, it's kind of difficult to. Both of these figures are so very different from each other that it's kind of hard to find a person that wants both of them. But I'm like, for
Mhm.
$23, go get it. They're both good figures. uh, I actually, I admit though, I actually sold Skywarp at TFCon because, in terms of my Beast Wars guys, I was just trying to, yeah. In terms of the Beast Wars guys, I was just trying to get the show cast, but still have a Sideswipe. Where is he? He's over here in his car mode. This guy is just the masterpiece, but smaller. He is real good. So if you can find that set at Ross, if you're in America, get it. There's two great figures in there. The Air Razor mold is really great, and this Lambo is really great. Like it's worth getting. So if you can find it for that price,
Yeah, like that looks really impressive in terms of the details.
yeah. Let me maybe I'll just transform this guy while I'm here.
Why not?
Yeah, and you can hear one of my cats meowing.
Yep.
They were really happy to see me back.
They're like, yes, the humans are gone. Time for a party.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we had our friends checking in on them, so
Okay. Well, your friends may have been partying with them.
yeah, for all we know.
Yes. So, Mr. Aladi on YouTube says, I've said that for how long now? And in reference to that statement, he says about G.I. Joe and Transformers.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's perfect. It, a bike-sized guy, you pair him with like Snake Eyes or something. There's a
Mhm.
there's a classified figure right now that I see in stores sometimes, and it's a Baroness that comes with a specific bike. I don't know GI Joe enough to know if like that's a specific pairing or not, but I'm like, that bike could just be a Transformer if you do like a 3 3/4 Baroness.
Interesting.
Hmm. Where's this guy's accessories? He's not Sideswipe's not complete without them.
Oh, for sure.
I think I'm over here in my convenient little baggie of stuff. Oh yeah. Here we go. Uh, give him his
Now, there's a question. Have you heard of Wizards of the Coast?
Oh yeah, they are a big famous card company. They make Magic the Gathering. I think
Okay.
they own Dungeons and Dragons now too. I might be wrong about that one.
Okay.
Uh, let me just type who owns Dungeons and Dragons.
Well, let's see. You're because
Oh,
Wizards of the
Hasbro.
Coast.
Yeah,
Ah, well, they're also a gaming division of Hasbro.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, Wizards of the Coast got big because they make Magic the Gathering, which is the card game to end all card games.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. It's the original collectible card battle thing, where you open the boosters and some cards are worth $1 zillion. One of those, but like Magic the Gathering was like the first one to really be that.
Okay.
Yeah. Here's Sideswipe, by the way. Excellent guy. Just the masterpiece shrunk down. Like the even if you don't like Skywarp, it's worth paying $23 for that set just to get this guy, because this
Oh,
really
for
is
sure.
just like a mini masterpiece. Just great figure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that is an impressive figure.
yeah. Like it looks like the masterpiece is just smaller and a little less licensed because they can't make him the proper Lambo. but
Right.
other than that, it's pretty dead on. And I had the masterpiece, so like I know what I'm. I understand the comparison.
Well, I was gonna say in terms of that character, like how well does he scale to any other characters?
Yeah. Well, it's mainline generations. Let me find some guys here. Uh, yeah. There's our deliberately undersized Bumblebee.
Hmm.
There's our Earthrise Hoist. I think I got Netflix Optimus here. Yeah, let me back up a little bit. Yeah, so
Yeah, that actually looks good in terms of how each of those four characters alone scale with each other.
yeah, starting with Siege and continuing up until now, there's been a conscious effort to try and make the main line like accurate to the cartoon scale charts to some extent.
Okay.
So that's why like Bumblebee is sold as a deluxe, but they made him shorter because he's supposed to be shorter. But so that's why he comes with the big collapsible cannon to like include extra stuff to make it worth the price still.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, but yeah, a great set, scales well with your G1 guys. Yeah,
Hmm.
I think yeah. Oh, so speaking of Wizards of the Coast here, they have made Transformers Magic the Gathering cards in the past. They made a Grimlock card. Um, Yeah, well, I wonder where we got this from because this is it's owned by Hasbro, so it's not totally unrelated, but it's not really a Transformers thing. I know that Dungeons and Dragons is getting a big relaunch that people were like really excited about.
Oh, nice. I mean, Dungeons and Dragons have been around forever.
Yeah, yeah, it's gone through several editions. I know they're doing a new rule book and they're making it both physical and digital. They got that movie coming out. They're making a Hasbro 6-incher line, same as Marvel Legends and Star Wars Black Series and whatnot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's jump over to
Oh,
Zordons.
yeah. Wonderful in hand images of Transmetal 2 Megatron. This guy. This guy. Yeah. And I love that they. The biggest thing about him is that like chest of his, like that's looks like he did on the show because it was quite different from the original figure. So seeing him like
Okay.
looking all show accurate is like real good.
Nice.
He didn't have a bat. That's just his fire blast, and the photographer, just stuck him in his hand as because it looks funny. I guess it's meant to come out of his dragon mouth.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, Michael or Lottie, this guy.
Yeah, this guy.
Yeah, as a like as Mr. Magnus showed us the original. I had the original also, so like that's a double hit of nostalgia for me. Like the original '90s figure.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, this was cool. This is his like final form from the last few episodes of the show when things really escalate. So he gets this upgrade.
Okay.
It's like his 11th hour thing. Um, and yeah, he's more powerful than even Optimal Optimus, so it's like a big escalation of the conflict.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, yeah. And plus he's just a big red dragon. That's cool.
Yes.
And can't wait to see what a modern leader class version of this guy looks like. And it's
And how
funny
tall?
because this is.
I'm
Pardon?
gonna say how tall would this image, or sorry, would this character be?
That's a good question. I haven't seen him scaled next to anybody else yet, but I'm gonna
Okay.
guess the same size as the previous Kingdom Megatron. Like a proper meaty, chunky leader. Because why wouldn't they do that?
Right.
Oh no, they killed Hauler. There he is. There's his dragon mode. That's the money shot right there.
Nice. Yes.
They got it. They nailed the head and everything. The original had a little dial in the back where you could use like wire to make his neck move. It was kind of a neat feature.
Okay.
This one apparently just has like a ton of joints.
Articulate the dragon mode into like possibly any pose you want.
Yeah.
It was the
Yeah, there we go.
attacking hero.
Defeating
Nice.
Optimal Optimus.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny because they skipped his like middle form because he had a regular transmetal form first. His Kingdom did his first form, and now Legacy is doing his third form. I wonder if they're going to loop back and do his middle one because he spent a lot of time in that body too.
Okay.
It was just a robotic T-Rex with VTOL jets on his side so he could fly. Michael Arlotti says, isn't this mold based on Transformers Prime Predaking? Or, toilet paper Predaking based on that abbreviation. But I think he means Transformers Prime.
Yes.
No, this is original. If anything, Predaking was based on this guy because the '90s version of this guy came out first. So, and it is funny. I've seen pictures of this guy's packaging from the live stream. He uses the Transformers Prime Predacon logo instead of the Beast Wars one. So I wonder how deliberate that was because he's also a dragon.
Interesting.
Yeah, but no, this is one I'm really looking forward to. Hits,
Images.
yeah,
There we go.
yeah, just real impressive looking. Really nice shade of red, and this guy. And of course, and I'm glad that we're formally seeing this. He doesn't have any chrome parts. Chrome, so nothing's gonna flake off and come to pieces. The original had chrome parts,
Okay.
like they look lovely, but nothing from that era of action figures has survived unscathed because the chrome chips and everything.
Right.
And BotCon 2022. This is the unofficial one.
Ooh, okay. Which one is the unofficial one?
This one. This is an unofficial one. Because they don't have official conventions anymore, right? Because they don't have the license, but the Fun Pub guys managed to hang on to the BotCon name, so they're still hosting something called that. That's not like officially licensed anymore.
Okay, because yeah, I guess that should have been my question: is what makes them unofficial?
Well, it's the same situation as TFCon. They're just a fan run convention now.
Okay.
Yeah, though it's a little bit questionable because they try and act like it's official, sort of, without saying it, but that's not really the case.
Got
Whereas
it.
TFCon is not pretending it's official; they're just like, yeah, we're a fan thing.
Got it. Okay. And then speaking of
Yeah.
TFCon, I've been editing a lot of the interview clips, so
Oh
this
yeah, yeah.
week I should be able to start sharing them.
Yeah, a lot of great stuff there. Stick them on every media you can. We got plenty of great interviews.
Yep.
Yeah. I can't wait to see the clipped version of those. Michael Orlotti says Inferno has chrome parts like his head. I don't know which Inferno you mean. If you mean a vintage one, probably, but not the current one.
Yes, Mike. Please elaborate on which Inferno we're speaking on.
Yeah. Oh, hey, another obscure legacy guy, Skullgrin. Um,
Mm-hmm.
oh, like I might. Okay, so this guy was a pretender originally, which
Yeah.
and you can see the picture in the left, which meant that he was a small robot that fit into a shell that was looked like a monster. But the
Mm-hmm.
new one they're putting out in Legacy just goes straight from the monster to his vehicle mode without like a shell. Um, this is another late Generation 1 guy. Too late to
Mm-hmm.
be on the cartoon. He was on Master Force again as one of the bad guys. This guy is the subject of a really famous or somewhat infamous Marvel Comics issue written by Bob Budiansky, where he became a Hollywood movie star as the creature in a monster movie. Yeah,
Nice.
so sort of
A
like
way to feature a character.
yeah, so sort of like Hoist Goes Hollywood, but it was a bad guy doing the part. The new one that's coming out. I I don't know. I don't think he's Chrome. I've seen pictures of him. I don't want him to be Chrome because that just means he's gonna flake and chip and stuff. And the original wasn't Chrome anyway. Yeah, but yeah, this uh, as somebody that's just read the Marvel comics and enjoyed them thoroughly, I might pick this guy up just because of that silly issue where he became a Hollywood star. Matter of
Mm-hmm.
fact, let me try and find the cover for it.
It makes me crazy
Uh,
now.
oh yeah, the name of the issue was MonsterCon from Mars. Let me
Mike
blow this
says
up as much as I can.
Bob Booty. Mike on YouTube.
Bob Booty. uh, let me share the issue because that's going to be wait, I gotta pop it out. Getting these things to work, man. There we go. There we go. There we go. He was facing off against Circuit Breaker in that issue also. But yeah, a
Yes.
lot of people that are going
I
to
have
want him
that
are going
issue
to want him
too.
because yeah, he got a whole Marvel issue to himself, and it was kind of random and silly. See if there's any screenshots from the issue in here. Yeah, it's him becoming a Hollywood sensation. Where's the one of him in the chair? I saw it a second ago. Oh yeah, right here, right here.
Nice.
It's him like, you know, getting ready for his role in the movie.
Yep.
I like people make fun of this. They're like, this issue was great. This was fun.
Yeah, I think I enjoyed that issue as well when it came out. It's
Yeah,
like all
and
these
now he
comics,
has
I have
a
to go back and reread them.
yeah, and now he has a legacy figure coming out, and a lot of people are going to be getting them because they remember this.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
I'll get him and look up the issue and take pictures of him replicating poses like this. I'll stick him in a Coronation Starscream's throne in that pose right there.
Yeah. So as Mike on YouTube says, watch our Hasbro Pulse review with himself and ND, which
Yeah,
I
yeah.
did
I
watch some of it.
I'll need to have a look. I just got into the country, so yeah, I'll be on my work break, so being a little silly. Yeah, I'll probably watch it on my lunch break at work tomorrow. So plus it'll give me a good excuse to look at the actual live stream, which I haven't watched yet. I've just seen all the pictures.
Oh no, we're not. And let's
Hmm.
see. So one more. Oh, here's again. So Transformers Legacy Core Bomb first.
Oh yeah, it's another. Yeah, that's another pretender who
Yep.
was in Master Force and was from the late Generation One line, and they're not doing him as a shell; they're doing him as a monster that changes into his vehicle mode. But this guy's a little guy; he's a little core class guy.
Okay.
Yeah, he's just a bat person. He didn't get a Marvel issue to himself, so he doesn't have quite the built-in appeal. Maybe that's why he's
Right.
getting a small figure instead of a full-sized one.
Like, it's like he's not getting all the love, so it's making the smaller character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Interesting
but
numbers on his back.
oh yeah, you'll see that when whenever there's prototypes like this, it's like to mark them up as like not for sale because they're just for like promotional purposes or prototyping purposes. So all
Got it.
these whenever you see like these early official in-hand images, they always have that numbers like that stuck on them somewhere.
Okay.
So like the final figures don't, because just these ones will.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I was not aware of that, but now I am.
Yeah. Hey, no excuse. What was he referencing? Ripping Prime's colors. What was that in reference to?
Well, I'm guessing for this character,
Oh,
unless
oh yeah, more blue, less red. I'd say
oh,
he's
it
ripping off Ultra
looks.
Magnus's colors, if anything.
I was gonna say more Starscream.
Yeah, I think you might be right about that.
Yeah, between Magnus and Starscream, it is not enough red to, especially how the colors are situated. Yeah, it's not enough red
Yeah,
to go with Prime.
red on the chest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is there going to be in-hand pictures of Hot Rod? I hope there is.
Hopefully, I say, well, how soon? Gee, let's see. Oh yeah, of the Hard Rod, I think last week before there was there were a lot of images being shared of them. And there's just a question of there were in-hand images that I don't recall.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll make their way out there.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't have a review this week because I was in another country, but I already got tomorrow's ready to go, so we're good.
Nice.
Yeah, kind of hard to post things from my phone in a country with spotty internet service, so.
I think even here it's like there's certain places, hotels especially tend to have spotty internet, and you think you would think that wouldn't be the case, but I mean, some of like the most known hotels, certain areas within the hotel that the internet uh, is not a good option to use.
Yeah. I just don't think it's a priority in Portugal to have like really good internet. They're too busy being chill people.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah, Portugal's like 5 hours behind. So what is it? It's almost 9 o'clock now. In Portugal time, it's like 2 in the morning, and I haven't quite bounced back from that. So I'm like, oh boy.
Like I said, when did you get back again?
Very late the day before yesterday.
Okay, that makes sense. So actually, Mike's on YouTube is asking, how was Portugal? Did you find any TPF?
Toilet paper figures? No, I didn't have time to look. There, like I said, there was one Walmart. I didn't get the time to go to it. I was on vacation. I wasn't thinking about that stuff. Except for when it came time to look
Mhm.
at the pictures on my phone of the Hasbro Pulse stream. Soljana says I looked on Hasbro Pulse but couldn't find you. Um, it was posted to our socials, like the Children of Primus Facebook channel, our YouTube page. That's where our thing was,
Yeah,
and
so
probably
we're
is.
not on Hasbro Pulse, but we actually streamed their stream through through our channel, and we were doing a live review of
Mhm.
of their stream, which I know Dean and Mike did on Tuesday, I believe, when Hasbro was doing their live stream.
Mhm. I'm just leaving. Come back really quick because my audio is being poppy. 1 second.
Okay. So Anthony is about to come back in a moment. It's 8:55, and then we are soon going to jump into our main topic of Transformers Intelligence. Where this week we're featuring the Decepticons.
I wonder if you have tier rankings because I was thinking about this on the car ride over. I was like, there's less Decepticon smart guys than there is Autobot smart guys. I think, but that's just off the top of my head.
Well, it's funny. Same thing happened with like initially thinking so with even the Autobots, where there's certain characters be like, well, for sure, this character is gonna make the list, and they didn't. So I'm just quickly gonna get my notebook to and do a recap on the Autobots before we jump into Decepticons.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say, probably the most interesting case to me is Shockwave, who I instinctively think of as the smart guy because he's the scientist doing all the experiments. But that's a modern invention. Uh, Came out in the 21st century. He wasn't really the science guy in Marvel or Sunbow.
True, although they slightly referenced it in Sumbo,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of him creating like his own drones and stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
when he captured the Dinobots. So, so a lot of times, like they make hints on it, but they never really fully portray that character's abilities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I'm like, I remember Starscream was supposed to be a scientist too, and that was a part of his story. He just didn't bring that up very much after like the Skyfire episode.
Yeah,
Shockwave all the way, says Michael Orlotti. Methinks there might be some favoritism going there, but what
yes.
do I know? I
So
always thought like
mm-hmm.
I always thought Soundwave was supposed to be like one of the smarter guys, just because as an intelligence guy with a web of spies, you think he'd be a smart dude.
True. Well, actually, let me see if
Yeah, you made notes and stuff, right?
yeah, I made a because actually I went through all the tech specs alphabetically. Um,
Oh,
Soundwave is in the list.
hmm. How does he stack up? Let me
Well,
get
well,
my tiny guy here.
we'll find out. We'll find out once we get to his name.
Huh? Where is he?
So, quickly going through the Autobot list that we did last week,
Uh-huh.
and this is only going by the tech specs of. This is going by their tech specs and only going by their intelligence ranking.
Uh-huh.
And in alphabetical order, we have Beachcomber, who was at 9.
Really?
Yep. Brainstorm at 9. Chrome Dome at 9. Computron at 10. First Aid at 9. Actually, you know what? Let me mention their function because that actually is also interesting that some people don't know. So to start off again, Beachcomber is a geologist at 9.
Mm-hmm.
Brainstorm, the biomechanical engineer at 8. Chrome Dome Computer Programmer at 9, Computron Warrior at 10, First Aid Doctor at 9, Fortress Maximus, Headmaster Leader at 10, the Grappled Architect at 8, Groove, who's a Scout at number 9, and Grotesque Military Strategist at 10, and Hot Rod Cavalier at 10, which going and also going through the tech specs, there was one thing that I found out, that characters that original characters that then became Target Masters, their tech specs went down.
What a lack of an upgrade.
Yep. And I think the theory is whoever they teamed up with kind of dragged down their overall rankings.
That's horrible.
It is.
I mean, I like that character, but 10?
It's surprising, yeah. It's and I mean, as Rhinox, he's also a 10, but like I'm surprised. Yeah, 10 in it as his hot rod form, like was a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, I mean, maybe as a matrix powered leader, 10, but like that, sharing that with only Computron, who is like a living computer, and Fortress Maximus, who has like 3 people up there, that seems a bit weird.
Yep. Oh yeah. Well, then we also have Hound, who's a Scout at 8. Your favorite Hubcap Communications at 9.
There we go.
Yep. Huffer Construction Engineer at 8. Jazz Special Operations Agent at 9. Jetfire Air Guardian at 10.
Yeah, that's gotta make sense. He was a big science guy, so.
Lightspeed Data Processor at 8. Metroplex Battle Station at 8. Mirage Spy at 9. Optimus Prime Commander at 10. And Perceptor Scientist at 10. And Prowl Military Strategist at 9. Punch Double Agent at 9. Ratchet Medic at 8. Repugnance Intelligence at 9. Counterintelligence. He's at 9. Rewind Archivist at 9. Rodimus Protector at 10.
Yeah, there you go. That makes sense.
Sandstorm Reconnaissance at 9. Sea Spray Naval Defense at 8. Silverbolt Aerial Bot Leader at 8. Skids Theoretician at 9. Skydive Air Warfare Strategist at 10.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like that was a surprising. Skylynx Lieutenant Commander at 8. Smokescreen Diversionary Tactician at 9. Springer Air Defense at 8. Steeljaw Tracker at 8. Streetwise, Interceptor at 9. Swerve Metallurgist at 8. Ultra Magnus City Commander at 9. Wheeljack Mechanical Engineer at 9. And the last one, Whirl Aerial Assault at 8.
Like, once again, I feel like I'm dragging one of my favorite characters to the mud, but Hot Rod as a 10, making them smarter than both Wheeljack and Ultra Magnus. Yeah. Shockwave and Whirl, says Michael Orlotti, both heads that think alike. Well, or also, look alike.
Yep.
Oh, there's a reason for that in the IDW comics. They were both victims of something called Empurata, which was a punishment. Yeah, because, before the war, Cybertron was at one point kind of a barbaric place, because there was a like a fascist government called the Functionist Council in charge for a while.
Okay.
And if people defied them, sometimes criminals would receive a treatment called empurata, where they would lose their face and their hands, with their face being replaced with just the mono eye.
Interesting.
Um, yeah, so Whirl was a victim of that at one point, which is also why he has claw hands.
Okay.
Um, and Shockwave, for a while, was a senator trying to do good things. And he had it happen to him, and one of his hands became a gun arm, and part of the treatment that he received was they tried to remove his emotions, and they unfortunately created a bad guy that way.
Wow. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so in IDW, those two look the same because they were both victims of the same punishment, basically.
Well, with going with that concept of the storyline, would Inferno and Grapple have been tied into that in any way?
No, they have proper faces. But yeah, right. They're missing individual hands. Well, to be fair, they're
Mm-hmm.
not usually like. I mean, the cartoon made it seem like they were permanent, but like most of the toys, like Hauler here, like you can just pop the missile off and flip a hand out. So I think in IDW they just portray them as just having both their hands,
Yeah,
with that as
because
like
I
an
remember
optional
that.
thing.
I remember that as the toy. It's like I had Inferno first, and you could either switch between the missile or the hand. But then in some of the drawings, they would only show him having one hand and the other hand being a missile.
Yeah, Chris McFeely did a series at one point called "The Art of Transformers," where he talked about how they came up with the early Generation One character models, and probably what happened was the people that were drawing them only had reference photos of the toy with one of the missiles in, so that's why they got portrayed as having missile hands.
Interesting.
Um,
That makes sense.
but most media doesn't really regard them as being stuck with missile hands, mostly because the original figures weren't. It's just guys like Shockwave and Whirl where that was specifically the case, that they they don't have hands.
Well, I somewhat remember in the cartoon for Inferno having having one hand and a missile in the other hand, or
Mm-hmm.
in his case, he was using it as an extinguisher.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that too. I don't remember if it was permanent or not, but that was
Mm-hmm.
definitely a thing from the animation that didn't make its way into other mediums, because most other places it was understood that it was supposed to be swappable with a fist.
Right. It
Michael
is.
Orlotti says that is correct. I don't know which thing you're referring to, but yes, I am right about whatever I was talking about at that exact moment that you were commenting on. Thank you.
Say that sentence again.
Yes, I am right about whatever it is you were commenting on at that exact moment.
Nice. So now going into the Decepticons.
Yeah, interesting. I want to know how many smart guys they have there. And just real quick, the fact that Beachcomber got a 9 surprised me. He's supposed to be like a hippie.
Well, you never know. Don't. Uh, I mean, some would say don't judge a book by its cover. Where it's like we see him as being like the cool laid back hippie, but he's with that intelligent bunch of characters.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
He's just
it's just him getting that high is something to think about.
this is true.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
But yeah, Decepticons. I'm interested.
the first on our list is Ape Face, who's listed as a saboteur, and his intelligence is 9.
Ape face. I think
Yep.
like everything that I've seen him in, it plays him as a dumb brute most of the time, fictionally.
Well, here's a funny thing. The toy lists his intelligence is 5.
On the chest thing.
Yes.
I wonder why the tech specs puts it so high. Maybe they're like adding him and his headmaster companion together. I don't remember what the profile was of his headmaster companion, but even two moderately smart guys, you put them together, make a really smart guy.
Both combined, like they barely hit the 5.
Yeah, 2 5s make a 10.
Wow. Was our laddie said on YouTube, spin post my comments quicker. Um,
Hey, he's a
yes,
busy
does
man.
have to
Don't pressure
remember.
him.
Sorry.
He's a busy man. Don't pressure him. I'm saying
No
to
pressure.
Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, also on YouTube, there is that slight delay on on when you're hearing. There's a slight delay on what you're hearing in terms of when we've said the statements. Um,
Hmm.
whereas Instagram, I believe, is more instantaneous. Hence the name. But Facebook is actually quicker than what YouTube is. So there's at least about a minute delay, which is crazy.
Yeah, I didn't really think much about that delay, but I guess you're right.
So let's see. Going on our list, the next on the list is Barrage, who's listed as
Hmm.
a gunner. He's at number 8.
Now, it's one of those characters who's a cipher because they've never been in anything, so it's like, sure, why not?
Yep. And Blastoff, a space warrior. He's number 8.
Yeah. I don't count 8 as like hyper smart. I count 8 as just like very competent. You know what I mean?
Yes, and
Like if you
it's
get an
interesting.
8 out of yeah, like if you get an
Mhm.
8 out of 10 on your test, that means you're like doing well on the average. You know?
That is correct. That is correct. And let's see who else. Bombshell, psychological warrior, uh, 8.
That feels kind of low because, but then again, I mostly just remember like a couple episodes of the cartoon played him as like the mad scientist coming up with inventions, so I automatically think of him as being smarter than that.
Yeah, exactly. 'Cause I'm like, well, if the gunner is 8, how is the mad scientist also a 8?
Yeah,
Let's see.
maybe
Next one.
he's good. He's good with cerebro shells and nothing else. I don't know.
That this is true. A buzzsaw, who's a spy, he's at number 8 as well.
Yeah, Buzzsaw is there's a joke amongst Marvel that he's actually like the most powerful Decepticon killer because like he took down Omega Supreme at one point.
Okay.
Yeah, but this was like late in the comic where they were just shoving these guys against each other in the background.
Okay.
Really, Bombshell, says Michael Orlotti. Yeah, see, that's what I thought. I thought he would be higher. I remember
Mm,
him as being like an experimenter, sort of like the prototype for Tarantulas in Beast Wars. So,
okay.
but now I'm just thinking about how Tarantulas' tech specs listed his intelligence as a 4, but they were
Really?
yeah, but they were those weird. We read those at one point in the show. Those were those weird ones that were written before they'd worked out the show's completely different story, so none of them matched how they were eventually played.
Right. And I mean, and in a sense, the same thing almost happened with G1, where it's like,
Yeah.
the bios and tech specs and everything were written out, but then the cartoon wise, it's some of the characters, it wasn't reflective in what we saw in the cartoon.
Yeah, it was a lot more cohesive in the '80s though, because it was all like a straight line of like Bob Budiansky wrote all the bios and did all the stats, and then
Right,
he
right,
wrote them into the Marvel comic himself, and then he handed them over to the show guys, and maybe the show guys would do something different, but they were at least like working from the same materials.
yep. Which I still find funny. Like just the whole thing with Cosmos nowadays, and I'm like, Cosmos was really an overlooked character compared to what his bio was written of him. Because the
Yeah.
cartoon didn't give his personality enough justice.
Oh yeah, wasn't his thing be like he freaks people out on purpose by pretending to adopt cows or something?
Yeah, like he's a natural comedian. Like not once in a cartoon was this ever portrayed.
Yeah, I mostly remember him being like turned into a statue on an alien planet one time.
Yep. Because him and Omega Supreme were just constantly like just crashing or running out of energy.
Yeah,
Let's
And
see.
just
Mhm.
in IDW, they used him as a reconnaissance guy because he could fly really far above the Earth and take photos from like outer space. So he was like a spy satellite, sort of.
Nice. I mean, that makes sense.
Hmm. He was only a comedian in the sense that it was funny that he grumbled a lot about how he was always stuck in Earth orbit being the reconnaissance guy, and he didn't get any, in his mind, he didn't get enough gratitude for that, so he was always grousing about it.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I would have
Yeah.
enjoyed reading that.
Hmm.
Let's see. So, back on the Decepticons. Counterpunch. Sorry, before I almost skipped one. Chop Shop, who's a thief. He's listed at number 8.
Yeah. Again, with these deluxe Insecticons that are just complete
Yeah,
mysteries.
yes, it's
Yeah.
so true. And then we go to Counterpunch, who's Double Agent at 9.
Huh. Now, does he have the same stats as Punch, his Autobot counterpart?
Yep, exactly the same. Or at least
Ah,
for
okay.
intelligence, they're both the same.
Yeah, okay, so they're not playing him like his alternate identity has different stats. He's just a smart guy no matter what. I
Hmm.
like several stories have been written about the idea of punch and counter punches invariably becoming split personalities that are kind of don't know what the other one is doing when they switch identities.
See, a cool storyline to run with.
Yeah, and I discovered when I was rereading Marvel, like he wasn't in any of the comics, but he had his bio published in the back of them, and Bob Budiansky's original profile for him did note that whole thing, like, oh, he has blackouts sometimes, and the other identity might be doing its own thing. So that was there from like day one.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, so Jonna says, I wonder where those Americans are tonight. Those Americans.
Those Americans.
Yeah, our good friends, those Americans.
Yeah, all the Americans are missing this evening, and
Yeah.
one of the Canadians, somewhat.
Yeah. Is it a holiday over there or something? True story. When I was in Portugal, we went to Fatima, which is like a big church site, and we had no idea there was some like religious holiday that day because it was something we'd never heard of, and it wound up being incredibly crowded. We didn't know that.
Interesting.
So like maybe there's some American thing I don't know about that's going down.
Let's see, August 20th. Yep, never know. Or American internet is having issues.
Yeah, that too. Maybe they're having their own Rogers blanks everyone out crisis.
Yes. So let's see. So we've got a counterpunch. Cyclonus, the Saboteur. He's at number 8.
Pretty normal for that guy.
Mm-hmm. And here's one I wasn't expecting on the list. Dirge, who's a
Mm.
warrior. He's at 8.
Yeah, I always assumed he was kind of a dumb goon. That's usually
Yep.
how in Marvel and the cartoon, that's what he tended to get written as.
Like all three of them, like all three of those seekers, just were really just like comedic sidekicks at
They,
like how
yeah,
they were portrayed.
they were like one step above Star Wars stormtroopers.
Exactly. So now we have a dive bomb, who's uh, aerial assault at number 8.
Yeah, again, pretty standard.
Mm-hmm. And Fangray, a tracker at number 8.
Yeah, one of the headmasters from later on. You'd think he'd have boosted intelligence also.
So again, yeah, who knows what his intelligence would have been before becoming headmaster.
Maybe he was not bright instead of just the average.
And and Mr. Galvatron, city commander, he's at number
Uh-huh.
9.
Yeah, that's believable. I wonder what Megatron's is. Well, we'll get to him eventually. Because I'm like, even when he was addled in the mind and not quite there, he was still a big planner and a big creator and a big inventor.
Hmm.
So I'd believe him as being 9.
Well, Hook, surgical engineer, is number 9.
Yeah, he's Was he the one that took apart Optimus and built him into an alligator? Because I'm like, I believe somebody like that being a 9, being able to pull that off.
Yeah, yeah, that was him. And also, I've always seen him as the leader of the Constructicons, and
Yeah.
and just for like his what I guess his overall look to the other Constructicons, he would be more of the one that would kind of do all the planning. I mean, almost like the person who creates the blueprints for everyone else in the construction.
Yeah.
I always saw that of him.
I could see that. A what he forms? He's right up there, forming like the top of the torso, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the top of Devastator.
Yeah. Under Scramble City rules, that does make him the leader.
This is true. I mean, although under Scramble City rules, and the fact that it's six of them, technically him and Longhaul would somewhat share that responsibility.
Yeah, it's funny because Longhaul's the one who's explicitly not the leader because his thing is he has to carry everything for everyone. He's the bag carrying guy.
Yep, yep. So
That
let's see.
is
Now we go.
that's specifically not the thing that the leader does unless they just want to be super helpful and motivational to their team.
This is true. So now we go to Hunger. Terracon leader 8.
Mm-hmm. You think? I wonder if in beast mode his two heads are each a 4.
Wow, I could see that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Kickback espionage 9.
How Kickback going to be smarter than Bombshell? That's well. I mean, was Kickback the leader of the Insecticons? I feel like I feel like he was played that way.
I felt he was played that way, but I really believe Bombshell would have been the leader of the Insecticons
Yeah.
if they had a leader.
Yeah, I mean, if they did, they were just a collective of guys who wanted food for their army of clones.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and then after Kickback, when we go to Megatron, leader at number 10.
He got 1 point dumber when he got reformatted into Galvatron.
Yep.
Jeez. Well, okay, maybe Galvatron's stats are from after he took a lava bath to the head, and that dropped him 1 point. That's something I'd accept.
That has to be it. Like that's the only explanation to that.
Because he's supposed to be an upgrade.
Mm-hmm. So we also have Misfire, Interceptor at 8.
Yeah, They say he is of average intelligence, but Misfire's whole thing is he can't hit anything. So I guess he thinks too much to be a good shot.
Well, it'd be cool to go back and look at what his firepower is at that point.
Yeah. And I think his whole bio was just he can't hit anything. He's a danger to everybody around him because he can't aim. And
Well,
his target master
target master?
Yeah. Aimless is not better. That's why he's called Aimless.
Nice. Like,
I remember I think there was
together?
I think it even made it into Rebirth because I think he was shooting all over the place and Misfire was just like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Well, now we have Ratbat, who's a fuel scout. He's at 9.
Yeah. Okay, I wonder if he ought to be a 10 because remember in Marvel he was like he became the leader because he was the smart leader. He was the guy who knew all about the like fuel consumption and economics and keeping the planet going.
Yep. But I think I think in G.I. Joe he would have been equivalent to Destro, I believe, where it was like more of the intelligent businessman.
Yeah, and like he kind of like just assumed leadership because there was a bit of a power vacuum because Megatron was gone, Straxus was gone, Starscream was out of commission, and usually Soundwave would kick in and become the leader, but Soundwave would always do that by he was never like I'm the leader now, more like I'm the steward until somebody takes over. And Rapat
Right.
was like, all right, I've been running things back on Cybertron. Let me start running things here.
Yep.
Yeah, the leadership struggles in Marvel were very interesting.
Now we go to Ravage, Saboteur at 8.
Yeah, good good on him for having the cleverness of a cat.
Yes. And Razor Claw, the Predaking leader at number 9.
Hmm. Solid leader of the team stats.
And Reflector, Reconnaissance at 9. Sorry, at 8.
Once again, divide that three ways for his three guys.
Wow. So
Like,
Scorponok.
two of them get to be threes, and one of them gets to be a two.
Wow. So, and I mean, I guess in their combined form of 8 when they're a camera.
Mm. Yeah.
That's quite funny. So
Yeah.
let's see. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to see. I want to know what Scorponok is.
Yeah, Scorponok is a 9. Although I had a question mark for that. I think there might have been a note.
Okay, because he wasn't portrayed as being very bright in Marvel, and it was kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
He's the guy who was like, the Autobots have created pretenders to disguise themselves as humans. You know what we should do? Make them ourselves and make them look like monsters, so nobody will ever think that. That whole issue was funny because we were like, man, you really don't get how Earth and humans and stuff works.
Which I mean was already an ongoing joke, and like, well, you've got these humans that are like, 20 feet tall.
Yeah,
So the whole concept in itself, other than the shell's repairing characters, was a funny concept, and then they just went completely left field with it.
yeah. Marvel's. It was fun watching them try and explain pretenders, and they kept coming up with different things. They're like, they're disguises. Nobody's going to buy that they're a disguise. Oh, they're powered armor that makes people stronger. No, no. Also, they heal people if you put them in them. Also, they can like survive in inhospitable environments. And they just kept trying to make them happen and try and come up with reasons for why they existed.
Yeah, I mean, it worked in the comics. It didn't work anywhere else though.
Yeah. I would like to note that the Pretenders, the Autobot ones that are in Master Force, the shells are portrayed as being able to shrink them down to normal human size, and they can
Oh,
make
okay.
their fancy armor vanish and just wear normal clothes. So they do disguise themselves as humans a large chunk of the time.
Interesting. Okay.
Hmm. One second, I'm having audio issues. Let me just reboot my headphones real quick.
Okay.
There we go. I'm back. All right. What was the next one?
All right. So the next one is Scourge, who's a tracker, and he's
Sorry, they just popped out again. I didn't hear who it was. There we go. Who was it? Who was it?
Scourge.
Scourge. Okay.
Yes. So he's listed as a tracker, and his original his original intelligence is 8.
Yeah.
I believe of all the target masters, which was the joke of all the original characters that became target masters, all their stats went down. Scourge's went up by 1.
Oh, hey. Looks like he became a 9, so he went from normally smart to like really smart, and all it took was a gun.
All it took was a gun.
Hmm.
So it's a question of it. Is it the intelligence of his gun? I believe his gun was Fracas.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So is it Fracas's intelligence that made the Scourges go up by 1?
I want to know more about Fracas. That's a big blind spot for me. I can't tell you anything about any of these Nebulans, mostly.
Yeah, because they're, I mean, other than like their brief introduction in the cartoon and the comics, like they don't really go put a huge backstory on them.
Yeah. Some of them got backstory in Marvel, but again, it had a huge cast when they were introducing them. You know, Zarak was a politician.
Yep.
High Q was a scientist.
Hmm.
High Test was his rival. Like some there was a lot of different characters. I don't quite remember what was up with any of them.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot to take in at once.
Hmm.
So let's see. So next we have a Scrapper, construction engineer at 10.
Oh wow! Because I've heard some people say that he's the Constructicon leader based on the way the cartoon played him. Sometimes I don't know if I buy that, but seeing that his intelligence is 10, I can see why they might be pulling that from.
Hmm. Actually, sorry, did I say 10? He's 8.
Oh, well, way to blow that theory out the water. Never mind then.
Well, but I think it still plays out what you were saying, because I believe between Scrapper and Hook, a lot of people could never really define which one of the two were the leaders of the Constructicons.
Yeah, because I think the only arguments I've seen for Scrapper is they were like some of the way some of the scenes in the cartoon went. It seemed like he was the one calling the shots, but it's a bit ambiguous.
Hmm. You know, of course, never mix master or long haul.
Yeah, never, never. The mad chemist and the bag carrier.
Yep. So now we go to Shockwave, the, the
Yeah.
military operations commander number 10.
Okay, see that's believable. From day
Mm,
one, he was played as really smart. I remember
yep.
reading somewhere that Bob Budiansky wrote him as Spock but evil as his initial conception.
Nice. That's
Yeah,
that perfectly portrays him.
yeah. And I'm thinking it's funny too because, like I said, him being like a mad scientist that does experiments is like Dreamwave invented that, and then Prime and Fall of Cybertron and IDW just kind of ran with it.
Mm,
So yeah, despite him being like the really smart guy, that wasn't much of a thing in the cartoon. But in the comic, he was like, "Logic says I should be the leader," so there he was trying to take over because he thought that was the smart thing to do.
yeah, exactly.
And yeah, in IDW, like I said, they tried to get into his brain and remove his emotions, thinking it would make him docile, and it just turned him into a huge villain because now he has all that intelligence and he doesn't have any scruples about using it.
It's just like you said, yep. Keep an eye on Shockwave. Like you just don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, multiple big events, like big comic events in IDW, happened because of him. So that was like the threat level he was at.
Yeah, and cause just the other day, someone presented a question again of whatever happened to Sparkplug. I
Yeah,
had replied that in one no, in one post that I did that either last year or year before, I made the theory that he's probably still around in his late 80s and just retired somewhere and probably has like Hypes and Hoist um and who else and like a couple other of like the engineer characters just keeping an eye out over him in like whatever secret location that he's retired. But in one of the comic storylines, Shockwave did kill him on arc 2.
oh yeah, yeah. Dreamwave.
Hmm.
Dreamwave. I haven't gotten to this in the comic book club yet, but it's on the list. It's weird what they did because they started out writing it like it was set in the cartoon continuity, but then they kind of like changed their mind and just eventually made it its own thing. So like the way it was written at first, it was like this is set between the second and third seasons. It's the '90s. They tried to get back on the arc. The arc exploded. We're looking at what they did before the movie, but then a few issues in, they're like Superion gets killed off. Like it just becomes its own thing.
Mm.
So it's sort of like,
Okay.
yeah. So it's like Yeah, they did write him as having died in the Arc 2 explosion, but it's not necessarily cartoon continuity. It's just a little similar to it.
Right. Yeah, because the cartoon continuity, like he just like there's no mention. He just disappears.
Yeah, so like in Dreamwave, for the 5 minutes where they were trying to make it a cartoon spin-off, they were like, let's say he died for drama.
Yep. So now, Six Shot,
Yeah.
who's his intelligence is 9, but I had to go back to his function because it's listed as Stag, which is Solo Transformer Assault Group.
They, they call that a Phase Sixer in IDW.
But interesting. Are there other Phase Sixers aside from what's his name? Quick Switch.
Yeah. Overlord, Black Shadow. I think Tarn is one too. They're just like the last people that they call in when like it's time to like burn everything down.
Got it. So
Yeah.
Quick Switch is within that list.
No, because he's an
Or
Autobot. The Phase Sixers are just Decepticons.
okay.
Yeah. But like in Furman's like initial IDW run, there was like a protocol for like the different stages of infiltrating a planet, like phases 1 to 6, and phase 6 was we're just going to burn the whole thing down because we're done, and the phase sixers were the people they would call in for that, and like Six Shot was one of them because he was like a living
Okay.
weapon.
Okay.
Yeah, and like the most powerful guys were called Phase Sixers because that's the level they were at. Even after that plan wasn't a thing anymore, they still called them that.
Nice. Okay, so let's see. So after Six Shot, we have a Skull Cruncher, who's a Swamp Warrior. He's at 8.
Yeah, so a very normal guy. He's just a crocodile.
Mm-hmm. A Slug Slinger, Air Defense at 8.
Mm-hmm. Again, pretty normal.
A Snapdragon Interceptor at 9.
Again, like he's Ape Face's companion, and they're portrayed as dumb brutes, and yet they get to be nines.
Yeah, it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Soundwave Communications, he's at
Ooh,
9.
only a nine. I guess Shockwave's a little bit smarter than him.
Mm.
I always saw him as intelligent just because he was so computerized, and he had this network of he's literally an intelligence officer.
Yep. Now,
I guess
Stars. Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say I guess it fits his role, especially in Marvel, where he was always the steward who never ruled himself. If nobody was around, he'd take the job, but the second somebody else showed up, he'd immediately cede control to them.
Always always taking the second place command.
Yeah, see, willingly, like that. See, that was obviously the job he wanted, right?
Mm-hmm. And now we go to Starscream, the Air Commander at number 9.
Oh, yeah, I guess that does fit because he was a scientist.
This is true.
I guess
And
it's like matters of specialty because like he's portrayed as trying to take over and always losing, but like maybe if he'd stuck to his original career field, he could have used that 9 intelligence a lot better.
well, I mean, the fact that at one point he did basically take over the Decepticons and the Autobots.
Mm,
It's just he just lacks that follow through with his planning.
yeah.
And then we go to, ironically enough, Swindle, munitions expert at number 9.
Yeah, I believe that. He's got to know how the economy works, so that means
Yes.
he's got to be smart.
Yep. And then we go to Venom, a Psycho Warfare at number 9.
You said that, and I forgot about the Insecticon. I was like what, the Spider-Man guy? uh, another character who hasn't been in anything. So I'm like, sure, he gets to be a 9.
But it's
He's so
interesting. All three of the deluxe Decepticons are up there in intelligence.
yeah. Well, they were like bigger guys. Them in the deluxe vehicles, like toy wise, they were like on the larger side, if I remember correctly. So maybe they
Yes.
gave them inflated stats to try and emphasize them as being like the strong, powerful ones.
Interesting. But then I would say with that theory, they didn't do that for Roadbuster. So almost all the deluxe characters have increased intelligence except Roadbuster, because Whirl is in
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Roadbuster is specifically written as a as a as a as a dumb walking one man army, I guess.
Well, I mean, he is a wrecker, isn't he?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, like Topspin, Twin Twister, not anywhere in that list either.
Yeah. I always like that people, even though the concept didn't exist at the time, people equate Roadbuster with the protagonist from Doom because he's green and he has a same shaped helmet and he has a lot of guns.
Yes, yeah, it does look exactly like him.
Yeah.
So let's see. So there's only a few left. We've got a Vortex,
Hmm.
Interrogation at 9.
I guess he's really good at interrogating.
And then Weird Wolf the Tracker at 10.
10. Wow.
Yep, yep.
All I know about him from anything he was in was he had that weird backwards way of talking.
That I don't recall.
Yeah, he did that a bit in the Marvel comics. I guess they were trying. I guess they're trying to make him sound a little bit like Yoda for some reason.
Okay.
But no,
Yeah,
again, not a major character in anything.
no. And last on the list, Wingspan was a data processor at 9.
Huh. I guess he's smarter than his clone, Pounce.
It's kind of
And I
funny.
don't. I don't remember Cloudraker and Fastlane, the Autobots, being on there. I guess we just randomly have one really smart Decepticon clone.
Yeah, no, the Autobot clones are not on there at all.
Yeah. So, I mean, looking at that overall, I'm like Shockwave being a 10 makes sense. I'm surprised that Megatron gets a point knocked off when he becomes Galvatron.
Mm-hmm.
Ape Face and Snapdragon are weirdly high. Um,
Yep.
yeah, Starscream's thing feels just right considering his role in the show was like, I used to be a scientist before I did this.
Mm-hmm.
I do like that there's some weird choices there, but there does seem to be a lot more deliberate intention behind the choices of those numbers.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well.
Yeah. There's no like stat inflation just because they're like big dudes.
No. So on last week's stream, Soljana had suggested finding like the dumbest transformers in the collective.
Oh my god.
So we'll have to save that for next week because I'm gonna have to go
I,
through all the stats again and see which characters rated the lowest for intelligence.
oh, I want to like dumb guy seems like a Decepticon thing, but I want to know who the non. What do they rank? Like, do they statistically rank the Dinobots low?
I was gonna say let me jump and look into that, but I think we'll save that for for next week to see
Yeah,
who's in the low rankings and I think for low rankings since we're going between 8 to 10, it would have to be anyone between 3 to 1 or 1 to 3.
yeah. Because I'm just thinking about how Marvel Grimlock specifically wasn't really portrayed as being dumb. He just kind of had the caveman speech affect, but was still written as being like a person of normal intelligence.
Yes, yeah, this is true.
Yeah. Yeah, in Generation 2 in particular, he got really like introspective, which would be kind of funny because he'd be talking about these deep thoughts about leadership and power and stuff, but he'd be delivering them in the Grimlock voice, so it was a little bit funny. Yeah, now I'm interested in that. I'm glad Shockwave got to be a 10 at least. Hot Rod is not as smart as Shockwave. Where is that coming from?
This is Tribe. I fully agree with that.
Yeah. I keep sounding like such a hater, for, but I'm like, no.
No, well, they must have had a reason for that.
And maybe they were like, "Oh, this is the main character of our expensive big budget film. We have to work really hard to sell this character to the kids. Let's inflate their stats."
That has to be it.
Yeah,
Which I'm like, at that point, why not make Cyclus also a 10? Like
yeah,
he's not a dumb character.
yeah. Cyclonus
Or
being an ape is kind of weird.
yeah, like he's not like not dumber or average, but it's an 8 does seem low for him.
Hmm. Yeah, because I mean, well, then he has the humongous blind spot of continuing to support Galvatron despite Galvatron being like a sinking ship.
Yes,
So, how smart
yes,
can a guy be when he doesn't know when to abandon ship in that situation?
this is true. I mean, Scourge like multiple times wanted to abandon ship in that situation.
Yeah. So maybe that's entirely where he loses it. He has a big lapse in judgment constantly.
Mm-hmm. So Anna, so Jana says from YouTube and said, "I want to know who is dumb but lovable."
Well, that's the cartoon Dinobots in a nutshell.
This is true.
That's why they're Jess's favorites.
But I think once I go through all the characters that rank within 1 to 3 intelligence, like certain ones that we will come across will recall if they were lovable characters or not.
Yeah. Gosh, what's I want I'm gonna look one up real quick because I want to see what they ranked. I want to look up Beast Wars Rat Trap stuff because he was always Jess's favorite and the smart problem solver. Uh, if you Rat Trap, because he had multiple tech specs, so like
Okay.
I'm gonna just
I guess
pop
it'd
it
be
up here.
what's his earliest edition, our original tech specs.
Yeah, I just found them on TFU. I'm just about to look them up here. Oh, this is that's a Transmetal Rat Trap, but his original one should be here. There we go. Rat Trap, Maximal Spy. His intelligence was only 7. That's surprising. But like, this is the first one, so this is the Rat Trap who uh, lives in the city and the cities that didn't exist on the show and eats garbage.
Right. Okay, I remember that now.
What about the Transmetal one? Did they fix him for that? Intelligence is still 7, eh?
Interesting.
There was a big gap between how these specs and how these guys were written on the show, which is an established thing. What about his 10th anniversary one? Did they fix him for that? It's from 2006. No, still 7. All right, one last chance to redeem himself.
Here we go.
Beast Machine's Rat Trap. I just gotta find him here. What are random things? Here he is. Here he is. Wow. Okay. Beast Machine's Rat Trap. Intelligence 9.9. I feel like that's actually too much.
And the fact that they threw a decimal in there.
Yeah. Like, at least this was written, like, this was clear, because this was Beast Machines. This was the sequel series. So, at least I like his bio note there is clearly just scanning it written based on how it was actually played in the show. So that they're at least being informed at that point.
Right.
Wisecracking, chronic complainer, his resourcefulness and intelligence are major assets to the maximal cause. Okay, yeah, that makes sense, but I don't know if I'd write him as a 9.9.
I think his courage would be higher than at least his intelligence.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know. He was very much into self-preservation. That was kind of what caused friction early on the show, because the Optimus Prime would be like, "Go into this dangerous situation," and Ratchet would be like, "No."
Okay.
What about? Well, I mean, it's not worth looking up Beast Wars Megatron, because I know they just gave him straight tens because they were all about like inflating the stats.
Right.
But what about Rhinox? Again, I think they didn't write him as being smart because this was early Beast Wars stuff. Yeah, they only wrote him as
Right.
Intelligence 6. On the TV show, he was their science guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't have a Beast Machines version, so I think he just doesn't get to have good stats.
Actually, I mean, for myself not having rewatched the Beast Wars and Beast Machines, how come he didn't get a Beast Machines version?
Oh, just I mean, he wasn't on the well, he I don't know, it's a good question. He just didn't get a Beast Machines figure, and on the show his absence was a plot point. So like fictionally, like what
Okay.
happened to Rhinox is a thing. Like him and
Okay.
Silverbolt are missing in action, and they're trying to figure out, they got a lot of stuff going on, but like where did they go is a thing, and it gets an answer eventually, and some unexpected stuff happens. But I don't know if like they were following the fact that they didn't have new figures initially, or if the figures took after the show. I don't know what kind of relationship they had at that point.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, but them being missing was one of the many plot points that was going on,
Okay.
because like the setup for Beast Machines is they get back to Cybertron, and then unexpectedly it's been taken over by the Viacons and they get scattered, and then some of the Maximals get new bodies from a thing underground called the Oracle of Cybertron, and now they're trying to take back the planet and figure out what happens to get everything like this, and that's like the central mystery.
Oh, okay. I really gotta watch it, rewatch it. It's funny hearing like Oracle of Cybertron. I'm automatically thinking of Vector Sigma.
I That Vector Sigma comes into play as well. They didn't forget about that. it,
Interesting.
I don't want to give too much away because it's a really tightly constructed show, but like Vector Sigma and some other stuff from the G1 cartoon related to that does come up in Beast Machines.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, that's why Rhinox didn't get one. God, is there anybody else I want to know the intelligence of? Well, I already said Tarantulas got a 4 because they wrote him before they had the show personalities figured out.
Right.
And Megatron would have been straight 10s. Um, what about Tigerhawk, the combined Tigertron and Air Razor? You'd think he'd be really smart. Maximal Vok Emissary. And yeah, this was the last year of the line, so they were writing these based on the show. So
Okay.
Intelligence 10. Wow, okay.
Wow.
And like most of the rest of these stats are like reasonable, so that's like a deliberate choice.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, Tigertron, from what I remember him, like he came off as an intelligent character.
Mm-hmm. I wonder what his stats are, because this is their him and Air Razor fused into one, right?
Right.
And yeah, Firepower 9.7 also feels appropriate because like he was like super powerful. Once again, this is right near the end of the show, so everything had
Okay.
escalated, so that makes sense,
Okay.
Tigatron, yeah. Oh, Tigatron's intelligence was only 3.
Ooh, yeah,
Uh,
not reflective of the show at all.
yeah. Let me look up Air Razor. Maybe he picked it all
So
up
are
from
you
there.
trying to say that Air Razor is going to be like a 7?
It would have to be. Oh, it was a 7.
Wow, that's funny.
There you go. 7 plus 3 equals 10. Yeah. These like this was like I said, all the G1 stuff is so deliberate, and the Beast Wars stuff was just a mess because like they wrote somebody, we don't know who, Bob Budiansky wasn't
Mhm.
doing these, wrote all these, and then the two guys that ran the show, Bob Ford and Larry DiTillo, just ignored them and wrote their own characters, and then by like year 3 of the Beast Wars line, they caught up to the show and were like, all right, let's write these based on the show since nobody cares about these. They care about the show.
That's just a disaster. Like,
Yeah. I yeah. I love that era of Transformers. That was a big part of this, but like the bios were not done well just because of that.
wow.
And something that I always want to know the answer to. I've never found this out, and if I ever get a chance to ask either of the show's writers, I want to know like why they ignored this stuff.
Hmm.
Which I want to phrase it like I don't think it's a bad thing because the show that we got was really good. Um, but I'm like, did you make a conscious choice to ignore all this stuff and do your own thing, or did they not give it to you and you had to make it up? Like, I've always been curious about what happened there, right?
Who are the writers for the Beast Wars?
Bob Forward and Larry DiTillo were the two like showrunners. I think one of them is not alive anymore, but the other one is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but yeah, those were the two main. They ran the show. They wrote a lot of the scripts. You know, other people would submit scripts, but they were the guys running the whole thing.
Okay. Yeah, it would be interesting to find a way to ask
Yeah,
him what was the reasoning behind that.
yeah, just ignoring all this material again for the better, probably. I
Hmm.
mean, just because what we got turned out well, but like then I look at like Rat Trap having a 6 intelligence, Tigertron having a 3 intelligence, and I'm like, wow, that is not what it
Hmm.
was at all.
Not even close.
Let's look at Dinobot, Mr. Honor and Glory. What did they make him?
Yeah, I have a feeling Dinobot's gonna be has a 3. Sorry, is that 5?
He's a 5, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. He would have been like 7 or 8.
Yeah, nope, just 5. I guess he's not too bright. Uh, let's look at, because it's a later guy, let's look at Transmetal 2 Dinobot, who was a clone, but like, you know, he still had the original's smarts.
Hmm.
Intelligence 6.3. I guess not much better.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. What about Black Arachnia? Because I remember she had 2 bios, and one of them was really show based, and one of them was really not.
Okay.
Black Arachnia, the Predacon double agent. Because she was portrayed as really smart. She was like a schemer. Intelligence 7 though, so it's just like normal.
Yeah, like she should have been an 8 or even a
Yeah.
9. Like when you think of say like Swindle and Hubcap.
Yeah, because she was like, what if Starscream was good at like wheeling and dealing instead of like obvious and not great at the follow through, right?
Right, right.
And you know, she eventually turned heroic, but like was always very much out for herself. All right, and here's the Transmetal 2 one from like way later.
Let's see.
There we go. Intelligence 9.3. So this one that was written
Okay.
based on the show, once again, like that makes sense.
That makes complete sense.
Yeah. Courage as a 7.5. Ooh, rank's only 5 though. But this is like the maximal version, so it makes sense that she has a low rank because she switched sides and they probably don't trust her.
Right.
Yeah. Boy, like you really can only do these intelligence lists for Generation 1 because these were the only that was the only point where all this stuff like had like a sensible thought process behind it instead of being like kind of random.
Right. Which now I wonder with with all the iterations of shows that have come out and any
Mm-hmm.
that do have any tech specs in the newer toys, if the specs are more relation to how the characters were written in like these recent cartoons, or if it's just the same thing of just writing a bunch of information and then the cartoons just kind of doing what they want.
I wonder, because I'm like, the movies were written as movies first, and then they made the tech specs after the fact, so those should follow the movies. I don't know about like the Unicron trilogy, which was I think the last time they did like proper uh, tech specs for like the TV show characters.
Okay.
Let me look up something. Let me look up Scorponok, because I'm thinking about the 2007 guy who was just a drone. I wonder what they wrote him as. Not 2004. There we go. 2007. Yeah, Intelligence 2. Okay, so that makes sense because he was like a drone in the movies.
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
Yeah. Scorponok is barely what the other Transformers would even call alive. His
Wow.
core programming is only a tiny bit more complex than pure instinct. In most things, he acts entirely as an animal. He never speaks and lives only to hunt and destroy. Yeah, okay, so like the movie already existed, and they were writing these and coming up with these stats based on the movie.
Yep.
So hey, dumbest Decepticon, that's Intelligence 2. That's down there.
That is down there. Which I don't
But
remember
also he's like
in
yeah.
the movies. I believe he's still alive.
Well, he got stomped on in Revenge of the Fallen.
Okay. I remember at one point it's like a couple characters that just kind of were always able to escape like Barricade. But it's like
Yeah.
always able to escape, but then you just never know where they are, but they still exist somewhere.
Yeah. Okay, so it's movie versus Ravage. I want to see what they made him. They made him Intelligence 9. He was also a dumb animal, sort of. Wow, that's smart.
Wow. Yeah.
Because like you know, he was in the second movie. He was like a literal panther.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, what
Vehicle
about
mode.
yeah? Oh well, yeah. It's just the pod that Soundwave shot out of his chest.
Okay.
Yeah, bulleting down through the atmosphere at 15 times the speed of sound. Ravage considers the data he has already amassed on the small, soft creatures that inhabit this planet. They seem weak and fragile, yet they are the ones that destroyed Megatron. That is a fact he will keep in mind as he penetrates their most sensitive installation. Against such an unpredictable enemy, stealth will be his watchword. That's just like the plot instead of a bio.
Who wrote this?
Yeah, God, I don't know. I want to know who writes these things currently, you know?
Wow.
Okay, what about Laserbeak? Because in Dark of the Moon, he could, like, talk and stuff, so he was, like, reasonably intelligent.
You know what? I would say Laserbeak's gonna get an 8.
Okay, that seems like a good choice. When did he come out? I'm looking for, like, the 2011 version. Come on, come on. Okay, maybe I'll go by movie. Dark of the Moon. Oh.
Bless you.
Oh, always come in threes. Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Bless you.
Ah, thanks. All right. Intelligence 2.
2. Oh.
Laserbeak grows more independent each day spent away from Cybertron. The loyal servant of Soundwave and the Decepticons has become more self-aware since arriving in the Milky Way. Laserbeak continuously monitors Autobot troop movement from afar, plotting the perfect moment to unleash his laser attack. This should have been Ravage's stats, because Laserbeak was like, I'm smart, I can talk, I'm an assassin.
Yeah, that's not Laserbeak at all.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah. God, like outside of Generation 1, tech specs are a mess.
That is terrible.
Yeah, like I'm not a 1980s only guy, but I'm like, they did like put more thought into this back then.
Yes.
Yeah. I think like Dark of the Moon was like the last time they did proper tech specs, maybe. I don't think they did them in did they do them in Transformers Prime? I don't know, let me check. Trilogy Prime.
It would be good if they did it in Prime.
Yes, first edition Optimus. No, no bio. He didn't get a bio. They weren't doing him for this line.
Wow, that's and I mean that was such a good line. Like
Yeah,
that would have been perfect for them to do bios and tech specs on.
yeah. They're just like, you want to know? Just watch the show.
Yes.
Is there a general one? Yeah, okay, that's his next one that they did. Oh, okay, so the Robots in Disguise version does have a bio.
Okay.
I gave him pretty reasonable stats. Like his intelligence is 8, his speed is 7, his
Hmm.
other stuff's like 10, but his skill is only 8, his fire blast is only 9.
That does sound like an average rating for Optimus.
Yeah. Hey, I wonder what Prime Shockwave was. You know, that version of the scientist.
Right.
Uh, what a long bio. Okay, yeah, he got intelligence 10, so they were still keeping that Generation 1
Okay.
thing going. Yeah. Speed's only
That
3
is
though.
Shockwave.
Yeah.
Well, I
What
mean,
about
yeah, he's never been quick.
yeah. Let me look up Soundwave and Starscream. Okay, so his first edition one probably didn't get a bio, but his normal one probably did. Okay, so Soundwave, Mr. Predator Drone.
Hmm.
Uh, okay, so yeah, the Prime one got an intelligence of 10, which is what I thought the Generation one would have had
Okay.
as the silent data collector.
Yep.
Now, what about Prime Starscream?
I'm gonna say 9.
Oh, only 7, eh?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I mean this version was a scientist too, technically. I guess he
Hmm.
just wasn't a very good scientist.
He's always able to swindle his way out of things, though.
Yeah,
Especially the ongoing joke of always calling on Ratchet to bring a medical kit.
yeah. Speaking of him, let's see what he was. Intelligence 9. Okay, that makes sense for him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What about Knockout, the Decepticon Doctor? You'd
All
think he'd be
right.
9 to go with Ratchet. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess 8.
And guess 8. Oh wow, dead on.
Nice.
Yeah. He just wasn't a he was just a baseline competent doctor, I guess.
Hmm.
Oh, what about Megatron? Did he get 10s across the board?
I mean, he should.
Oh, intelligence only 9.
Wow.
I guess I guess Dark Energon did a number on him the same way it did to Generation 1 Galvatron.
Hmm.
And what about Predaking? Because the whole point was he gained intelligence.
Let's see.
Uh, Intelligence 8, so he's a very normal-brained guy.
Wow.
Oof, okay. About let's look at Ultra Magnus. Or we want the Beast Hunters version because that's the one that was actually on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Intelligence 8, so he was very much normal.
Oh.
Oh, what about Wheeljack? Because I'm like, he's not a scientist in this universe. So is he the standard 8?
Right, because he's a wrecker in that universe.
Yeah. Oh, wow, they only gave him intelligence of 6.
Wow.
Yeah, they're not valuing him.
We got a message from Bill. He left a message on Messenger, which I believe I may have missed from earlier. And he got called into the water plant for an emergency job, and a bypass valve got jammed, and we had to go at it and get it working. It's been a long night, and it has an hour drive home.
Oh boy, he's doing something heroic.
Yes, but as Ultra Magnus usually does.
Yeah, and Bulkhead's intelligence was only 5.
Oh gosh.
I guess this is, yeah. I mean, that's about right.
That is about right. Yeah, Bill. So yeah, understanding why you weren't able to jump in tonight. So you've a safe drive back home and get some rest. Cause I know how those emergency work call-ins to works can go sometimes.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I think I gotta call this in soon myself. I'm dying.
Yeah. I was gonna say, it's 10 p.m. So I think we should call it an evening, and and for next week we'll do part 3 of the intelligence, where we're gonna find the lowest intelligence but lovable characters, and we're gonna speak a bit about the cosmos.
Okay. Maybe I'll be lucky to find one. Oh, the city of Evansville can rest peacefully as they have water again, says Bill. There, you see, that's super essential.
Very.
hmm So, of all the reasons not to be here, that's a good one.
hmm So the city has
Ooh.
Bill to thank for them having their water supply for the evening.
Let me plug what I'm putting up tomorrow. So I'm writing a
Yes.
review of a Velocitron hauler here, the grapple retool. Outside of talking about the figure, at the beginning I talk about the 2019 campaign to get him into the Hall of Fame, and all the memes that came out of that, and I even linked to a bit of art there, which is why this character is like such a fun guy to me, because he reminds me of that whole grassroots thing to try and get him elected into the Hall of Fame. And
All right.
I'm also going to talk about the figure, which is like pretty good too.
Yeah, like he is a good looking figure.
Yeah, just grapple with a weird shouty face, and he's green.
Yes.
This face is funny. It makes every pose inherently more hilarious because he's just gasping or yelling or whatever,
Mm-hmm. Well,
Uh,
does he come with a second face, or is that his only face?
no, he's stuck looking like that. I guess they just yeah, Bill's like, I love the face. Yeah, he's shocked, or he's yelling, or he's startled. It makes for fun photos.
Yes.
I
Oh,
guess they
I
just,
can't wait to see the photos.
yeah, because it's been standard operating procedure for a very long time that every Transformers figure gets an alternate head, whether or not they have any plans to use it, right?
Right.
And I guess when they did Grapple, they were just like, what can we do as an alternate head? Just give him a startled face. And then when they put Holler out, they're like, all right, let's use the startled face that was already there.
Oh, why not?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, so that's coming tomorrow at childrenofprimus.com/news and reviews. Look forward to it.
Yes. And thank you for having the energy to jump in, after that long travel. So I do thank you for being here tonight.
Oh yeah, no problem. I I shouldn't ate so much pasta and drank wine before I came on because I was primed to fail already after the jet lag. Night, mates. I'm heading home, says Bill Glenn. Hopefully, I'll be back next week. Looking forward to it. I'll probably be better adjusted at that point.
Looking forward to seeing you next week as well, Bill, and
Hmm.
and everyone else who wasn't able to jump in for tonight. And thank you once again to Soljana and Rio and to Primetime Steven. It's
Hmm.
they're pretty much here in the comments every week. So we thank you guys for always thank you guys and girls for always jumping in on our show, and and until next week, you know let's next week we'll be back at it again, 8 o'clock.
Hmm. To discuss low intelligence, like me right now.
Yes, so let us sign off for the evening and say goodnight to everyone.
Hmm. Till all are in bed sleeping.
Wow, yes, and until all are in bed sleeping.
Dream about robots.